Okay, it looks like our stream has started. Okay, fantastic. Just look for some hardware here. Okay, great. I'll remember not to bump into that. Alright. Howdy, everybody. Okay, great. Alright, looks like, Steven. Hey, Steven, how's it going? Good to see you. Let's see. Check OBS here. So it looks like that's gotten stuck. Let me see why that's gotten stuck here. 1 second as we organize our camera. Our video feed looks like to have frozen here. Okay. And we're back. Okay. Alright everyone, it looks like our video feed has been fixed and our audio levels look alright, but let me know how the audio levels work out for you guys. If the music is ever too loud or too quiet, do let me know. Alright, how's that? Voice is fixed up. Great to see you, Steven. So, yeah. So, oh, here we go. I've got a second camera here. Let me go ahead and just, let's see. Let's try that. Let's see. Video capture device. And I think I click on this one. Okay. Great. We can talk face to face this way. That's fantastic. So, wow, that's, what if I can just move that a little? Oh, how's that? Does that seem alright to you guys? Okay, great. Right, our setup is, we're good to go. Fantastic. So, great. The first game that we'll be launching next will be Guardians and Metal Exterminators S on Nintendo Switch. I'm very much looking forward to that. There's 7 new playable human characters and 7 new playable cryptids. Many of these will be code linker content from upcoming titles. I have a lot in the works, so I'm very excited to get these upcoming games out to all of you. Thanks. Quarrel. That's great. Good to see you. Thanks for coming to hang out. Is it Carl or Quarrel? There's no U there. I see you're setting your own, you're blazing your own trail. You've got a Q without a U, and I like that. You are your own person. No one's going to tell you to put a U after the Q, are they? Alright. So, I just want to share this setup. I'm so excited about this because I recently got a dual arm setup and got an extra monitor for the side there. This is for doing different kinds of development and different platforms, but I needed a vertical screen, and I just want to share this with you because I'm just so excited about it. Have a look, take a look at this. I've got a monitor there. Let me go ahead and rotate this. So I'm sitting here sort of in my command station here. Now I've got a vertical monitor just there. I'm pretty excited about this vertical monitor. So I got monitors off to the side for my broadcasting computer. But, pretty excited about that. I've always wanted a sort of a setup similar to that, so pretty excited. Alright, let me get lined up here. So, the creature we're working on today, I had an idea in my head for something, but just this morning I started thinking of something else. And I want a creature that Well, what's most exciting is when I'm creating these creatures, especially with the new stuff, I'm trying to consider different ways to interact with these creatures, different ways to fight them, different dangers that they pose to you, and also different stories you can tell with these creatures. And I started thinking of a creature that could sort of thinking like a siren's call. Like if you're asleep, it'll sort of emit a sound, and then it just sort of hypnotizes you into walking and then going towards it while you're asleep. And I'm thinking really, really cool and creepy, but I'm not. I hadn't given, because I was originally going to design this creature as something else, but I've decided I want to move in a different direction. So this is going to be really shooting from the hip today. It's going to be pretty loose. We're playing fast and loose here, everybody. I think it'll be fun. All right. Super Smash live twice in one day. Yeah, I thought well, last night, in case anyone missed it, we did a campfire live stream, and that was so relaxing. It was just great. It really felt like just sitting around with people that and hanging out by a campfire. It was really fun. So I really enjoyed that. But I can't waste time, and I can't work leisurely. And I really need to get Guardians and Metal Exterminators finished. Partly because I would like to have all my Unity games finished, but also I don't know what's going to happen in the future regarding Unity and its policies and all that. So I would like to have these games done. And also mostly because I know there's a lot of people out there waiting for these games. I get messages from people saying, oh, when's the next one coming out? I can't wait for the next Silver Falls. And in that respect, I'd really like to get these games out just so people have more to enjoy. So this is my Wacom Syntec drawing monitor. Right now, it's my favorite one to use because I have so much real estate on it. It's so great. I'm just going to open my Wacom settings because my brush sensitivity is too high. You see, I can adjust this slider here, and if you have it's hard to see that on the webcam, isn't it? You see, if I sort of press down, you can see this slider. You see a slider show up, right? So there's something wrong here because I'm pushing a little bit, and then suddenly it jumps to the top. So I'm going to go customize that. Put a curve in there. I'll just keep that firm, and let's see what that's like. There we go. That seems more reasonable to me. Okay, yeah, that's quite an ideal setting. I'm going to go ahead and leave that open. So, here's the thing, right? So this creature needs to serve some functions here. I just need to organize my thoughts because this is an idea. I only started thinking about it last night. Okay, hey, you know what? Let's So we need to say what this creature does. We're just going to put a notepad there. We're playing fast and loose, everyone. We're just shooting from the hip today. We were up late. We were up until 2 a.m. with the campfire last night with our other live stream. So we're just going to play it fast and loose and have a nice, relaxing day. What software is the sculpture tool? Tech Ops, hi. Great to see you. This is called Sculptress. I'll spell it here. Sculptress. Okay, I hope you can see that. Sculptress. Let's see, I might have to adjust some settings. Let me adjust my webcam settings so you can see that better. Here, can you see that? It's Sculptress. And I really like using Sculptress. It's an older program. It's made by the people that make ZBrush. And ZBrush is an industry standard. Sculptress is totally free to use, and you can make production-ready models with this. So yeah, it'd be great to hang out, and I'll explain more about the program to you. I like using it because it doesn't get in my way. I generally don't like using programs that do too much. because programs that do too much stop you from growing. They stop you from developing your abilities. So in general, I try to avoid programs that are too advanced, that do too much. To me, Sculptress does just the right amount. It doesn't get in my way. It doesn't stop me from developing, and it does exactly what I need it to. So I'm very happy with using Sculptress here. We'll also do a paint as well. Right, so I just need to go up here. So we need the functions that we need this guy to serve, right? So this creature, it's going to be slow, so it's mostly stationary, right? This is a mostly stationary dude. He needs to emit a man. Hypnotic. I haven't had my coffee yet. If you guys don't mind, I think I'm going to go just walk over to the kitchen and grab a coffee. It needs to emit a hypnotic sound, so that lures. So it's a lure. It uses sound to lure people who are asleep, and then it has to be able to do something. So what is the reason it is emitting this sound? It is going to eat people, so it has to be able to eat victim. So these are what I consider when conceptualizing a design. I'm not doing any concept sketches. I'm just going to go straight concept to canvas. This is my concept to canvas method here. Harpuia 455. Hi. Thanks for coming to hang out. Good to see you. Hello, Harpuia. Is that a reference to a Mega Man ZX? A big Mega Man ZX fan. Shame we only got the 2 on DS. Hello, friend. I'm an aspiring game dev. Do you have any tips? I start university next year, and I'm stoked. Yeah, I absolutely do have some tips for you. My dog is barking. Let me go figure out why my dog is barking, and then I'll get right back to you. I fear he might be making too much noise on the microphone. I'll return shortly. Let's relax. So, Arquia 455. My advice to you, as I have some experience as a commercial game developer. I've shipped numerous titles on Nintendo consoles. So my advice to you, when you're first starting out with game development, is don't worry if you don't finish a project. And in fact, work on as many projects as you can for yourself, personal projects. And the reason I say that is because when you are early on in your journey as a game developer, it's unlikely that you're going to finish any projects because you don't yet have the experience and the skill to really carry projects through to the end, especially if you have high ambitions with your projects. So my advice to you is don't worry about it. Don't be discouraged if you don't finish a project. And in fact, if you want to work on multiple projects at a time, if you want to work on multiple games, do it. Don't worry about it. Don't let anyone stop you and tell you, oh, you should focus on one thing at a time. Early on in your journey, the most important thing is for you to develop your skills and your experience. And the only way to develop those is by doing the work, by thinking of an idea that you want to make into a reality. And when you think of an idea and you think, oh, what if this game was like, what if you could play Super Mario, but you had the ability to turn into an elephant? And when you think of ideas like that, you naturally will find your own way to make that work. As you do that, that's how you develop skills. And it is very likely that you're going to have 50, 60 projects early on that will never be finished. But the skills that you develop creating those projects those skills are what will allow you to finish your future projects after you've become more experienced. There's some advice for you. Alright, I'm trying to figure out where I can set my coffee here. Just set that. I'm going to put, I'm just going to adjust my screen, and I'll put my YouTube comments on my front screen here so I can make better eye contact while we're chatting. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, Carl, you have an awesome imagination with the creatures. Oh, thank you. You know, that's one of my favorite things about games, and my fascination with weird creatures probably started from the actually even the Atari 2600. I played a ton of Atari 2600, but my fascination for the weird stuff probably turned out as a result of the abstract nature of games on the NES and the SNES, the Genesis, you know, that sort of 8-bit stuff. And that's because you had to use your imagination um, for those creatures, you know? Um, sort of look at games on the 8-bit and whatnot, and when you see a creature, you look at it, and sometimes it doesn't make a lot of sense. You know, it's like a handful of pixels, and you're not exactly sure what the heck you're looking at. And I think that's what's so interesting and fun. Um, is you have to use your imagination. And like I always say this as an example, is sometimes you're playing like an old Nintendo game, right, an NES, and you look at it, and then you think like, well, what the heck is that? Is that a top hat with a machine gun? You know, and then you kind of have to fill in the blanks, and that is an organic way of having participation with the end user. And instead of the game telling the player what they're looking at, the player gets to determine for themselves to an extent what they're looking at and what they're engaging with. And I think that's interesting. So when I design my creatures, I try to keep them interesting but vague enough to where you look at it. And especially because Silver Falls is a horror series, I kind of think that it should be identifiable somehow. Um, but I try my best to not overly explain my intentions behind these cryptid designs because that ruins the mystery of it, doesn't it? You know, you like to have some mystery. So this guy's going to be weird, right? I need him to look really creepy. So here's my concept with him, right? I want him to have legs. So we look at our first objective here. He's mostly stationary, right? He's not going to move a lot. So he's going to have a couple. It's going to be sort of like a tripod, stick in the ground. It's going to be sitting in there like that, and he's going to have a voice box. So there is already a cryptid I've designed for Silver Falls. Ooh, I better save my progress, huh? Let's just get we'll code names Sleepwalk. So these aren't official names, especially when I'm working on stream. I want people to come up with their own names as they engage with these cryptids. So I put code names in there, and I don't put the official names. I don't tell people the official names generally, unless it's something like Metal Exterminators or whatnot. So let's see. Oh, we've got okay. Awakening. Oh, hey, good to see you. Thanks for coming to hang out. So, do you listen to your own music often, or just when live streaming? It's perfect for working. Well, thanks. I listen to other video game music in general. I don't listen to my own music. I only listen to my music when I'm composing and then mastering. So, when I compose a track, um, I'll put it on my phone. I'll plug in some headphones. I'll use Bluetooth. I'll go through different speakers, and I listen to it for a few hours just to master it, listening to it on different um, speakers and headphones to balance out a bit. But yeah, you know, I used to really, really love listening to Silent Hill music when I was working. It's really relaxing. What kind of music? This is from right now. We're listening to Ruby River music, which is really sets itself apart from the other soundtracks. And I just really had so much fun listening to it. So let's see here. I'm kind of thinking, so he needs an eating hole, right? He needs an eating hole and he needs a sound box, right? So he needs to be able to eat the victims somehow, and he needs to emit a hypnotic sound. So, yeah, as I was mentioning before, there is a Silver Falls cryptid which also emits a sound. And I don't want to spoil it too much, but um, I think they've mentioned it in this series before. In the lore, there's characters that sort of talk about it. So here we go. To have a soundbox, I'm going to make it quite round, you know. I'll smoothen this out, and that's to sort of help communicate the concept of a soundbox. Um, you know what? This guy could even be in the same family as the other creature that also emits sound. So he's going to have an eating hole, and I'll have a sound hole up here. So what do we got? Oh, Luna Knights, good to see you. Let's see. He looks like a hand monster. Oh yeah, kind of like the thing, huh? Hi, Jerrel. Sorry, can't stay half to work out with my wife, but we'll come back later. Hey, have a great time. I hope you're enjoying a good dinner. We'll catch you in a bit. Yeah, thanks for coming to say hi. Good to see you. Right, so I want to smoothen that out. So now I need to be careful. So here's something that you need to be very careful, especially when you're early on. When you're on your early on in your journey, when you're creating, is be careful that you don't accidentally make the same things again and again. Um, Creation is an active skill. It's not something that happens automatically. If you are creating automatically, if you're creating just on impulse and you're not thinking about it, then you are not creating. You're actually just copying. Because inactive creation is regurgitation. You are actually just taking something that you've seen, something that you're familiar with before, and then you are accidentally copying it. Active creation is totally different from that. It is an active action. You are considering all of your influences, you are considering everything that you have created before, and you are actively choosing to make something new and different as a result of your information that you have and your experience. You often hear people like, oh, good artists steal, or successful, good artists create, or successful artists steal, something like that. And that's a load of bullcrap. Those are people who don't actually even have the slightest understanding of what it means to create something. And because they don't have what it takes to create, they don't understand what it is to create, they have to steal. And then they try to justify that by saying you have to steal because that's what art is. So ignore those people that say you have to steal. They don't know what they're talking about. And so the whole point of having said that is um, I'm extremely careful not to create the same thing again and again. Especially, I set out so that these Silver Falls cryptids have um, a consistent design philosophy. But if you do that, you run the risk of accidentally creating the same thing again and again. Think of it in a way of Pokemon. You know, they try to have a consistent design philosophy. They try to achieve the same thing between generations, but then you end up with, like, how many flying bug types do we have? How many flying normal types do we have? And that's where trying to maintain a design philosophy can be detrimental. So what I do first with these designs is first I create the shape, and then I work on the form, and I um, try to explain this in a way that people can just understand it without having to do mental gymnastics because they sound the same. But shape, this is a shape, right? But it doesn't have form. There's very little definition. The form is what informs the viewer what this thing is. It gives them details about what it is. So right now you can't tell if it has bones, muscles, or tendons, but you can tell that it has a shape. So work on your shape first, and then work on your form after. Form is about the definition. So there's a trick to creating something creepy. Something that is slender is naturally just pretty creepy, and something that's overly detailed is also naturally very creepy. So I'm moving it around so I can look at my proportions here, and then we will start. So his legs won't move much. I will rig this up, and he will be animated. but he won't move much. He won't be as active as the other creatures. So I'm thinking what'll be pretty creepy is we have two options for eating. So he needs to be able to eat his victims, right? But why? You need to consider why he is luring in his victims. Why does he need to hypnotize his victims with sound? And so here's what I'm thinking, right? I'm I'm thinking maybe his mechanism for eating is quite weak. Maybe his mechanism for eating is fragile, and that if his victim could fight, then he wouldn't stand a good chance. And so I'm going to follow that train of logic and say that his eating mechanism is weak. Let's go ahead and type that in here. So he has a weak eating mechanism. And there we go. And so that is why he needs to emit a hypnotic sound to lure in his victims. Luring because he is just lonely. Wow, Luna Knights. He's luring his victims in because he's lonely. You know, that got too real too fast. We like to keep things lighthearted here, but that got pretty real. And hey, if you guys have your own coffee, if you've got tea, or just a nice hot beverage, feel free to enjoy your hot beverage with it. Infernal Coin S, hi, thanks. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Have you considered using Twitch? So, I have thought about it, but I don't understand the inner workings of Twitch. I know every platform has its strengths and weaknesses, and every platform has a very specific way which it needs to be used. And at the moment, I just don't have the time to learn how to use Twitch correctly. I don't want to come across as somebody's, grandpa or uncle and, put on my baseball cap backwards and say, hey, fellow kids, I never want to be in a position like that. So at the moment, I'm not using Twitch because I don't understand it. All right. So what do, Infernal Coin, what do you think the strengths of using Twitch would be? What do you think using Twitch instead of YouTube, what would be the point? What would be the benefit of using Twitch? And that's a genuine question because I don't actually know. There we go. There we go. Plant this. Oh, you know what? I was also going to do these bits back here. So what we'll do first, of course, we're doing our form, and then afterwards we'll come back in, and then we'll build up details so it looks like there's tendon and bone, which the limbs have attached to the body. I don't know. Already I'm feeling pretty charismatic, and this is fun. I enjoy hanging out and chatting with people while creating these designs because these are designs, especially this one now. I really only started thinking about it during our bonfire live stream last night. I was going to do a totally different cryptid design, but then I thought this is just such a fun idea, so I haven't even had much time to conceptualize it. So really, what you're seeing now is what I'm coming up with on the spot. This is shooting from the hip. I didn't plan this out at all. And so, yeah, I think it'll be fun to just share that with you. And then when you guys see this in the game, you'll be able to say, hey, I was there when he thought that up. He came up with it on the spot. So I want the rear leg to be a little shorter. It's good to have asymmetry in your creature designs. Not left and right, but back to front. Because as your creature turns and moves, as they animate, if they have some asymmetry, they're more interesting to look at. But also, visually, the player will be able to understand the movement of the creature better. If the creature's totally symmetrical, it's very difficult for the player to understand what that creature is doing, and it makes it visually less interesting in terms of animation. So that's something to consider as well. This is going to be a real gooey, a real fleshy boy, a real fleshy friend for us here. Okay, so what I need to do is also, I want to drag that ankle up, but I want this to bend inward a bit. So this is, wow, okay, this is all, so this is ending up a similar idea to the other cryptid, which no one has seen. It's, you know, I haven't publicized it, I haven't shown it. That's one I don't want to spoil. But I think this may end up being a family of cryptids then, since they use sound to lure their victims in. So I think I'll put my flag in the ground, and I'm going to call it here, and say that they're in the same family. Alright. Yep, exercise time. Hey, that's great, Lunar Knights. Can't wait to see what you create. Is this for Diamond Island? That's a good question. That's a very good question. This creature is for a Silver Falls game, which has not been announced. So you guys, I don't know if anyone remembers way early on when I was creating for 3DS, one of the canceled games for 3DS was titled Lucid Nightmare, and it was starring Kathleen Hereby. Kathleen is a young lady who is wheelchair bound, and the story was going to follow her struggle with that and just processing her life, and trying to accept it for what it is, and trying to make the most out of her life. And that was supposed to be the story of Lucid Nightmare. We had to cancel Lucid Nightmare, but the story beats and the character development and the time that you spend with the character, I've moved that into a different title, which will be upcoming. At the moment, there's no rush to produce that title, but it will have a greater scope, and I think the game itself will be significantly more fun than Lucid Nightmare. And I think that is a big part of it, is fun. I think from a storytelling standpoint, more so than Lucid Nightmare, the game that I'm discussing right now, which I haven't announced the title of, it will allow the player to interact with other characters. You're playing as Kathleen, and you get to interact with other characters more, whereas with Lucid Nightmare, it was meant to be enclosed. It was going to be a puzzle game, quite abstract, and it was mostly only Kathleen. And the storytelling was hugely internal. And I realized I was wasting the concept there, because there's much more you can do with the character story like that. So this back bit, it needs to be more asymmetrical. What I'm going to do is inflate that so you can tell it's very different from other limbs. So let's go ahead and just start inflating. So this creature, again, is for an unannounced Silver Falls game. But he will appear. He's going to be playable in Guardians and Metal Exterminators on the Switch due to CodeLinker connectivity. And then he will appear in other games as well. And of course, the CodeLinker doesn't... for anyone unfamiliar, CodeLinker is a system which Silver Falls used that allows you to let characters cross over from one Silver Falls game into another, but it also lets the monsters cross over from one game into another as well. Sometimes the characters will take weapons in with them as well and whatnot. Alright, so we're getting somewhere. I'm liking that back bit. So we need a pretty weak eating mechanism. And you know what's good is dangly bits. If you're doing creature design and you're just unsure and it just isn't sort of working out right for you, try adding some dangly bits. You can quote me on that. That's a pro tip from an industry pro. Add some dangly bits. I'm gonna add a dangly bit here. You won't even see this dangly bit here. You know, for the most part, you're not really gonna see that. But between all of us, you know, this will be our little secret, just a happy little dangly bit. Right? That'll be our secret. So if you guys would if anyone would like to do sculpting with a drawing tablet, you don't have to use the ones that have the monitors built in. Those are quite expensive, but they're very fun and satisfying to use these. You can use normal drawing tablets that don't have the display built in. Right. So you can see that's created form in a way where it's interesting. So if you happen to see it from that angle and it's casting light, and catching light and casting shadows, it's actually quite interesting. Okay, so we're going to have... Oh, you know what? His eating bit, here's what I'm thinking. His eating bit He has a weak eating mechanism. It should be quite low, and that also plays into why he needs to emit a hypnotic sound. He's mostly stationary. His eating bit could be quite low here, and that's why he needs to hypnotize people. So let's leave his sound hole up top. We'll have the eating bit up here. So let's go ahead and do that now. And here's what I like to consider is like a tube, a feeding tube with teeth on it, would be gross, but also it would accomplish what we needed to do. So let's go ahead. I was kind of thinking a slit for the mouth, right? But I think a sort of a feeding tube would be more gross. It would be grotesque. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's take a step back, have a look at our proportions. There we go. I'm kind of thinking it only comes out that far, so that's already pretty creepy looking. It's quite gross. And I'm kind of thinking he needs to sort of latch on to his victim, sort of just like drink, their blood out of them and just chew softly. Maybe he sort of, you know how leeches, they have an anticoagulant in their saliva, so maybe this fella's situation is a little bit like that. Let's go ahead. This is his eating mechanism, which is going to be quite weak. We'll inflate it at the end here, and then we'll give it some teeth. But of course, he's not going to be real good at it, is he? Let me catch up with the chat now. Let's see. You logged into Twitter for less than 2 minutes, saw an elephant scratch himself, and immediately logged off. Wow. Oh, is that where'd that elephant come from? He scratched himself with his... Oh, wow. Okay, so that elephant kind of has two trunks, then he's got a... Okay, in the comment section, I think Awakening Bear is talking about an elephant that has a trunk in the front and a trunk in the back, which is... That sounds like, honestly, that sounds like a creature out of a horror video game. And I'm convinced it's not a horror creature. Okay, so we're gonna put some teeth on that. Oh yeah, that's awful. Oh wow. Hey guys, check this out. This is really awful. Ooh. So we're gonna hold Alt. I have a keyboard button map, so you have buttons along the sides. Left and here you have some sliders. If you hold Alt, it reverses the effect of the tool. So I'll paint the inside of that black, so it appears that it continues up. I don't need to go all the way up. I just need to go high up enough to where I can paint it black, and then I can use my specular map to say don't reflect any light, and that's as far as I need to go with that. Oh, fantastic, guys, look at that. Yes, yes. Let's go ahead and turn off the wireframe for a moment. What do you guys think? I'm starting to feel this design. We'll have some teeth in there, yeah? So he'll sort of clamp down on you a little bit, not very strong, not very muscular, and he'll eat people very slowly that way. He'll sort of drink the blood out of him. I'm feeling pretty happy with this design so far. I'm sure once we have the tendons and the musculature there, it'll really be unsettling. So let's go ahead and start designing his sound hole. This guy emits a sound which is hypnotic, but it only works on people who are asleep. Let me catch up on the chat here. Steven, any updates on RPG? That's the one I'm super stoked for. See, here's the trick, Steven. Making an RPG is hugely time-consuming, right? You have to make... We all know what RPGs are. RPGs have a ton of NPCs, a ton of playable characters, all the models for the weapons, the environments, you have all these different enemies. And to create an RPG is such an investment of resources. And that is why I'm making all these other Silver Falls games first, is because now I've created all of these creatures, now I've created all of the characters, I will have created heaps of environments and models, and I can use those creatures, those characters, and those models for RPG. So while I'm working on all these other Silver Falls titles, I am actually working on RPG simultaneously. That's the Silver Falls method. So I want to launch Duck Season first. After Guardians of Metal Exterminators, I want to do Duck Season. Then I want Face Takers to launch. I want Galaxy Bound Curse DX to launch. And we'll see what the temperature is at that point. Because there is a good chance if there's significant demand for 3 Down Stars HD, then I will do 3 Down Stars HD, and then I will do RPG. I really want RPG to launch, because RPGs are my favorite genre. They're my favorite kinds of games, and the story in RPG, um, the things that happen in RPG hugely affect the entirety of the status quo in Silver Falls. I hate using that term. It's ugh, you know, well, ugh. It felt gross saying that. I feel like a YouTuber, so I'm not gonna say that anymore. But the situation in Silver Falls changes. It culminates in RPG, and then it changes in RPG, um, and you'll see why. Um, we've been seeing a lot of hints about Starglass. We've been hearing about the mechanic asking for Starglass. We've been hearing characters talk about Starglass, and so there's only some a handful of people in the live stream here, so I'll just share a little bit of details with you. But to me, a good RPG has a strong magic system. How do you create a magic system for a game that is set in the real world? That's supposed to be reality. That's modern day. How are you supposed to have a magic system? So the entirety of the Silver Falls series has been hinting at these things called Starglass, and they'll be leading into RPG. And in Road Past Guilt, the magic system will be based on Starglass. So there you go. Yeah, that's a secret. Don't leak that. There's only a handful of people here anyway, so not that many people are gonna have anything, spoiled or ruined for them. Obviously, I'm not. I'm going to spoil anything, but I think once you see the concept, because when I have to start the promotional material for RPG, it's going to be obvious that the magic system uses Starglass, and Starglass is a story element that's existed in Silver Falls for a very long time. So we have hints, and we kind of got an idea of what Starglass is. Let's see, Infernal Coin, there's much more discoverability. On YouTube, basically, the only people who will discover your stream are those who are already subscribed to you. Oh, wow, okay, thank you. That's really interesting. For Twitch, anyone who's looking in your category, in this case, game dev, can find you. Thanks for that, Infernal Coin. That's really great. Maybe I should look into Twitch then. Yeah. Okay. Steven, I am the significant demand for 3 Down Stars HD. Alright. Let's go ahead. We'll just start his sound hole here. I'm really liking this design, and this is one where I'm absolutely shot from the hip on this one. What you guys are saying now, I really just came up with on the spot. So, there's a creature, and I think in the lore, the characters in Silver Falls have already actually started talking about this creature a bit, but it mimics the voices of people. It hears people's voices, and then it mimics them, and then it lures people out. And that's an idea for a cryptid that's existed for a very long time. We've been telling scary stories like that for many, many years, but this Silver Falls cryptid is specifically does that, so it draws people out and then it eats them. Whereas this one, I've decided will be in the same family. It's lures people out, but not in the same way. So he's got to have a sound hole. So what we need to do is have a cavity. What I think I'll do is use the draw tool. I'll hold the Alt key, carve out a cavity. Oh, you know what? I'm so sorry. I totally didn't even put my lapel mic on. So if you guys live in the States, if anyone there lives in the States, you know they have packets of apple cider. And what I like to do in my coffee is I make my coffee, and then I'll add a packet of that apple cider and make myself an apple cider coffee. What's quite nice is they have the sugar-free option, so I like to have the sugar-free apple cider. It's quite pleasant. Okay. Let me know if the music's too loud at any point. I have a hard time telling. So yeah, I really appreciate that, Infernal Coin. I think it'd be a good idea for me to look into Twitch. And you know, here's the difficult part for me is I'm not a content creator and I'm not a YouTuber. My primary job is game developer. And obviously it's important for me to consider the technological position that we are in, is that we need to rely on things like streaming services in order to build our audience. But really, the reason why I do these live streams is really just to hang out with my supporters. You know, the reason I can make these games is because people trust me to make a good game that they'll enjoy, and people trust me that I'll do my best. And then they buy my games, and I just want to show my appreciation for that. And I think the best way to show appreciation for someone is to spend time with them. So that's why I do these. It isn't necessarily to you know, advertise and market and try to build an audience, you know, but that, you know, it would be foolhardy to think that you shouldn't be using live streaming and all these, you know, everything that's within reach technologically. It'd be foolhardy to say we don't need that to advertise and market our games. So this is his sound hole. Oh, you know it'd be so gross? Oh, wow. I was just thinking this. What if one of his weaknesses... I think the music's too loud. What if one of his weaknesses is if you threw an item into the hole? Oh, and it would start gagging and choking. Oh, man. Oh, that's so gross. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. If you could, like, run up to him, throw an item straight in there, and then that could be like an insta-kill. He'll just gag, and it'll have like a unique animation, and it'll just start gurgling, and then he'll fall over and choke and die. Oh, that'd be so gross. I would hate that. Now that I've had that idea, I think I would like to implement that in the games. That would be disgusting. So yeah, you know, I appreciate that, Infernal Coin. I think I will look into Twitch now. Oh man, oh, that's so gross. What a gross idea, right? So here's what I'm thinking. I'm kind of thinking, like, you know, these little knobbly bits, sort of, they vibrate. They'll vibrate when he makes a noise. They'll sort of, you know, and I think that'll be pretty gross, you know. I think it'll be really nasty looking. We'll get a couple knobbly bits on here. So again, we're having our shape, and then we're almost at the point now. Once we have our shape finished, then we can start working on our form. Oh yeah, wow. You know, I'm quite pleased with how this is turning out right now. Oh hey, you know what? Let me go ahead and grab some music from White Inside Its Umbra. People tell me they really enjoy that. There's also the mansion music from White Inside Its Umbra. I quite like that, so I'll grab that. I'll just grab that after I finish these knobby bits. Yeah, this is where the sound comes out. This is his sound hole. Oh yeah. Oh, I really like this guy now. So here's what I'm thinking. This is something very important to consider with design as well, is you need to understand how your design is going to be viewed. Let's make some eye contact for a second. So when I say that, I mean that I know how this creature is going to be viewed, and that means, for example, is this game overhead? Is the camera overhead? What creatures can you design that will look good if the camera is always overhead? If this creature is in a game, let's say, for example, Gears of War, Resident Evil 4, you know, where the camera's over the shoulder, will this creature look good from those camera angles? So, if we look at this, say we're playing Resident Evil 4, right? We're probably going to see the creature from this angle, which means we don't really get to see that many interesting details. We don't get to see that back leg, those back legs. We don't get to see that. If this creature is in a game where he's viewed totally overhead, that's what we're going to see. So right now, this creature design is not very good in terms of being viewed by the player. He looks good honestly from the side, you know. So right now, this is the kind of design that works well, say for example, in honestly like a 2D platformer, because that's where you are able to visually discern his interesting and unique traits. You're able to see this form, you're able to see that, and he's not supposed to be designed for a 2D platformer. So now I'm at the stage where I need to refine this design so that it looks better for the game in which it will be viewed. So, and I really want him to appear, because he's going to appear in multiple Silver Falls titles, but now I'm going to adjust his sound hole so that it's viewable from the front. So let's go ahead and drag that down a bit. There we go. Now you can see, if we were to be playing against this creature in an sort of a game where you have an over-the-shoulder camera, you can now see the details of that creature in an interesting way. I may have to keep working on the rear legs so that you can see them, but I think they're a bit short, so we'll go ahead and fix that as well. Let's go ahead and save our progress. Let me go ahead and grab some music from Light Inside Its Umbra. People tend to enjoy that soundtrack. See, I want to skip the, there's some pretty fast-paced battle music here, so I'll try to skip that. Let's see what we got. It turns out we are listening to the White Inside Its Umbra theme music at the moment anyway. Alright, so I want to go ahead and fix these up. Those should be rounder. They're supposed to fold in. So let's go ahead and fix that now. It should be a little something like this. We're going to have knobs at the end of these here. I'm going to call these little resonator tentacles. I'm not sure if that's something that exists in the music industry, in the sound industry, resonator tentacles. I'm wondering if I should have little knobs at the back and the front. I don't want to make my design confusing looking, so I'm just going to think about it for now. Let's get my wireframe back on. We'll use the inflate tool and give this guy some knobs here. And I'll turn the music up a little bit for this part since it's a bit softer. So what is great, I had someone ask about recommendations for drawing tablets in a previous live stream, and my recommendation for a tablet is make sure whatever tablet you get, they're all going to be, largely similar. They all perform similar functions, What's important are that the macro keys and the shortcut keys are useful to you. You'll often see them that have buttons, and they are programmable, but it's also good to have analog sliders. So these sort of, you can slide up and down. Some of them have a wheel. That's extremely important for a good workflow. So you can see I use the right one for zooming in and out, and the left slider I use for adjusting my brush. So I'm already looking at a mistake that I've made here. This is a rookie mistake, and I need to rig and animate these, but because they are so close together, they're actually going to be very difficult for me to rig later on. It's important to consider when you're working on these kinds of designs. So what I have to do now is I need to separate these, and I just need to understand later on that I'll rig them with bones and then I'll have them animate to move inwards. So what I need to do now is separate them. So I've caused my own problems here. I've done a Batman. Everything would have been fine if I just thought things through a little more. Yep, I've done myself a disservice here. That's okay. Sometimes it's accidents in life that create opportunities for us to grow, to learn, and to become better monster makers. Alright. Who knows, I may even think of some cool ideas while I'm doing this, despite having made a minor slip up here in terms of rigging. Bring that up. So I'm just separating them because later on I'll need to animate them. So I'm damaging the shape right now. You can see it's really messed up. But that's all right when you're in the sculpting stage. That's why I say work on your shape first before your form. Your form has your fine details, and when you need to make modifications like this, if I had done my form, then I would be damaging it. Right now I'm only damaging the shape, and it's very easy to fix shape. So that's something to consider. What we'll do is we'll use the smooth tool now. We'll smoothen that out. I'll also use the reduce brush, and then we'll reduce that and simplify it so we can give him a knob later on. Let's go ahead and smoothen that out. Okay, let's go ahead and smoothen these out. And again, we'll use the reduce brush. That cuts down on the polygons so that it will be acceptable performance. And what I do after finishing the models, I go with my reduce brush and I manually remove detail so that it works better in the game engine. I don't have access to unlimited polygons, unfortunately. Okay, it looks like, okay, good, this is good. All right, so I'll be able to rig this properly now. I will not, I won't have problems rigging this because they are far enough apart. If you have anything that you need to rig and animate, if they are too close to each other, you're going to have major problems. Okay. So let's go ahead and just inflate the tips here and give them a knob. Actually, I might use the draw tool for that. Let's see here. Let's try this. I'm kind of thinking like the tip of a drumstick that you would use for a drum set. That's sort of what I'm thinking of for the shape here, you know. And generally, this kind of shape is already sort of unsettling anyway to look at. Okay, see, there we go. Let's go ahead and quickly give ourselves a couple more knobs, just a couple more. There we go. Awakening. Everything reminds me of her. All right. Okay. And this will be fun to animate. You know, I think it'll be gross. You know, when he emits a sound, and these bits can vibrate. So from a game functionality standpoint, obviously the player is not asleep, right? Player isn't asleep when encountering these creatures. So how is he supposed to make sense from a combat standpoint? So it's important to consider those things. Well, how does that make sense? You know, what threat is he going to pose during battle if according to the story, his hypnotic sound that he emits only affects people who are asleep? Well, what if... Here's what I was considering, right? Oh, let me see. The music might be a little too loud. I'll turn that down. What if, when you're awake and you hear the sound, it causes like a visual distortion, like a visual hallucination? So let's say you're fighting this creature, you're aiming your gun at him, and then he emits his sound, and it makes the screen kind of blurry, and you see an after image. So you start moving your gun left and right, but the screen's now lagging behind. And what if, because his whole point is it emits a sound and it makes your character, you know, sort of walk. Well, in the story, he makes people walk towards him by emitting a hypnotic sound. What if, when you're playing this game and you are fighting this creature, you're aiming your gun at him, he emits the sound, your character hears the sound, and then your character can't stop themselves. Your character just starts walking towards that creature, and there's nothing the player can do to stop it. You know, like you lose control of your character for a second while your character is just marginally hypnotized. You can still fight, you can use your weapons, but your character is now walking towards this creature. And that is the kind of horror that I had in mind. And the reason why I'm creating this creature that does that, okay, we can share a little bit of spoilers here. The main character of the game, in which this creature is the signature cryptid, is that main character is wheelchair bound. Stephen may have asked about it earlier. So Kathleen hereby is a Silver Falls character who is wheelchair bound, but naturally she's the only person in all of Silver Falls who would be immune to this creature's effect because she can't walk. So if she's sitting in a wheelchair, and let's say she has crossbow and she's shooting at this thing emits a sound. Any other character that you play as will be forced to walk toward this creature, except Kathleen. She's immune to this thing's effects. And that's why I've designed this creature specifically for Kathleen. There we go. Inflated Tip would be an epic brand name. I don't know, it kind of sounds like they would make skateboards or something, wouldn't it? Maybe you hallucinate that he's on top of you and you start striking yourself, causing self-damage. See, that's a very cool idea. Absolutely, that's really cool. I like that. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll start defining our form. We've got a pretty cool shape here. I'm going to go to a next stage, so I'll just save it as S2. I like to do this just to have a backup, you know. So we have S2. So we have our shape. You know what the thing is now. It has shape, but now we need to define the form. And the form is the visual indicators that let you understand what you are looking at. So I want to communicate a sense of musculature and tendons. What we'll do is we'll just sort of indicate that there's a bone here, right? Shrink the size of... So this sort of indicates that there's a bone in there. We want to indicate a sense of tendon or musculature that goes up. Go ahead and smoothen that out now. All right. So it looks like muscles are attaching to some part of the body here. Okay? Go ahead and build that up and have it look like there's muscles attached to that part of the body there as well. This step is very important to actively consider, or you end up making anatomy that doesn't really make sense. So this is a very important step. We'll simplify that later on as well. We need to get some musculature down underneath as well. Have this muscular attachment here. I think it'd be gross if there was a dangly bit down here. Yeah, let's put a dangly bit down there. It's just a kind of a gross detail, isn't it? Not many people will know about it, but you'll know about it. Let's get an inflated tip there. Yeah, that makes it look like it's sort of like collecting, you know, bodily fluids down in there. That's kind of gross looking, isn't it? Future me is not going to be happy with all the extra bits that I'm adding on, because future me is going to have to rig this thing and create a bone system for it. So future me, I'm sorry, but, you know, present me is kind of having fun making this thing. All right. Okay, so we need to make sure that our anatomy makes sense here. We'll just make sure that we've got a decent amount of musculature, tendon attachments, and that anatomy looks interesting, and it's making sense to me. Oop. All right. I'll do one limb at a time. How about that? So we'll carry on, but I want the lower sections to not be as well defined. I want them to be weaker defined, because again, this creature does not move very much, and so it should be a suggestion that, you know, the bottom of his limbs are quite weak, and so that that helps visually communicate that he doesn't move that much. Let's just get him. Let's get this boy looking real squishy. How about we give him some knobs down there? How about that? Give him some leg knobs. I think that's a technical term. I think they say that in the industry, leg knobs. Actually, might want to go back to the Manor music. I actually really like that. I'll listen to that again. This is fun and creepy. I think this is sort of fits what we're working on here today. Okay, so does anyone want to see this thing in engine with full lighting? Just let me know in the comments, because I will have to just prepare for that ahead of time. I'll have to plan for it. So let me know if you want to see this guy running with full lighting in the actual engine, in the actual game environment. Let me know, and I'll organize that. Okay, and let's give him some leg knobs. Yeah, there we go. Nice and squishy. So you can see the design philosophy for this particular cryptid is quite different from the Face Takers. If you've seen pictures that I've posted, or if you've hung out while I was creating the Face Takers, Face Takers have a very malformed look to them. I might have to open some up and show you. But Face Takers have kind of their limbs have hands that look like they didn't fully form, you know, and the fingers are sort of twisted and gnarled. And that is a design philosophy that I wanted specifically for the Face Takers, to help give them this sort of unifying look that you kind of understand, oh, that's what a Face Taker is, okay. Whereas this guy is going to be a little bit more squishy. Only the real ones were there for the gross bit, that's right. You know, the real, you know, people who really love Silver Falls were there when I added all these gross parts on. Yeah, there we go. I'm jumping ahead, and I'm just putting my knobs on ahead of time, but that's okay, you know. You shouldn't feel stressed out. You should put your knobs on whenever you feel comfortable. And right now, I would just like to have all my knobs on. You know, I started, and I just sort of feel like I'm, you know, it's like efficient when you put in a bunch of things. But that one's going to be pointy. That's sort of like a different deal going on altogether back there. Maybe he sort of sticks that to the ground to anchor himself. We've got some issues here. Let's go ahead and just clean that up a little bit with our smooth and then reduce tool. See, it's very easy to damage your sculpt, but you can use the smooth tool and you can use the reduce brush to fix that on up. There we go. Alright, I think We're getting there. These days I have a bit more experience fixing up these damaged parts. Early on, I was damaging my sculpt, and I didn't know how to fix it, and it was quite frustrating. But if you happen to run into that problem, just go back and forth between the smooth brush and the reduce brush, and there we go. Okay, let's just go ahead and turn off the wireframe for a moment and have a look. I'm quite happy with this design so far. What do you guys think of this? So let's see if we have met our requirements. If we mix that up, what is... Oh, we're golden. We are golden, man. Actually, I like that because you can see the musculature better. Let's do that for now. So, it's a creature that is mostly stationary. We have these very wimpy, weak-looking limbs. Actually, this is way better than the red because I can see it more clearly. So I should have... Maybe I should have been changing my shader more often. That's very wimpy looking, isn't it? Yeah. I'm going to need to inflate that section so it looks anatomically viable here. So let's go ahead. Oh yeah, this is a better shader. Okay. There we go. That seems to make more sense. Okay, great. What do you guys think? See, when it's metal like this, it almost looks like a metal exterminator, but see, here's the thing. You look at it, in terms of the shape, you can tell it's not even a metal exterminator just from, you know, the shape and the form of it. So let's go ahead and get some tendons on these legs, and then we'll start painting. Right, and this is the last cryptid that I need to design for Guardians and Metal Exterminators. Alright, I'm expressing a sense of musculature here. Now it looks like, you know, this has real form to it, and you can understand, oh, there's muscles in that fella. Turn on the wireframe, of course. Actually, I don't really use this gold shader much, but I think I'll be using this more going forward in the future because it's quite clear and it's easy to see what's going on here. Yeah, I'm really liking that. Okay. This is quite relaxing, isn't it? It's a nice, easy sculpt. No stress. Really relaxing. Okay, let's get our form in here now. We don't want it to look like calf muzzles. See, it's easy to accidentally make it look like calves, and then you have like thick, meaty, strong calves, so we'll have to be careful about that. We want to show that these aren't bones, you know, they're just like squishy flesh. So let me go ahead and use the grab tool now. We've caught some damage here somehow. That's okay, we can use the smooth tool and just fix that up. Not bad. Not bad. So that looks like it's got enough form to it. I like to hold Alt button again to reverse that. Go ahead and smoothen out a little bit. Okay, now the last bit. See, this sort of looks like a Looney Tunes noodle, but it won't take long. We'll give it some form, and then it will no longer look like a Looney Tunes noodle. What I want to do is actually further expand on these muscles here. If these muscles are attached to the rest of the body, it makes the whole cryptid have a cohesive look, because now it looks like, oh, the body has muscles running through it and the legs are attached to the whole body. So we'll go ahead and accentuate that a bit, why don't we? So now the body has form that organically makes sense because they're feeding into this design of the legs here. Okay. Actually, what I would like to do is I would like to install Unreal, and then I would like to see what it takes to get these character models and the textures into Unreal. And maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that. How long does it take to install Unreal? I'm just waiting on some. Well, I can't really discuss. You know, there are many things that I won't be able to discuss with you guys. But I don't yet have Unreal for the Switch installed. Business processes that I'm waiting for. So I think I need to do 4. I think 4 is more performant on the Switch. I'm sort of looking at my side screen here. I like having my screen here. If I sort of turn a little bit, you can sort of, yeah, you know, I got my here. Okay, so I have to open the. I have to use the Epic Games launcher. Okay, sure. All right, we'll let that download. Actually, I'm going to install Unreal now, and then why don't we see what it takes to get my stuff loaded into Unreal? We'll do that today. Okay, let's just define this last leg here. You know, I'm kind of looking for a vibe right now. I think I might move the soundtrack forward and put on some Ruby River music. I'm just looking for a real chill vibe right now, you know. Okay, I think we've got that sorted. That looks good. Let's see, Awakening. Have you ever visited New England? You grew up in Massachusetts. I have not. I've never been to New England. I would like to see New England. I think that would be great. I have some family on the East Coast, so yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't have family around New England, but I don't know. Maybe one day if there's like a game convention there or something, maybe I could go to that. I don't know. But see, you can only stream one at a time, right? Like if you if you go to Twitch, you can't stream on YouTube at the same time because OBS outputs to one deal, isn't it? Oh, he's got some real thick calves here. You know what? We'll just leave it like that. I think it's kind of funny that it looks like he's got some thick calves. Okay. I think we'll shrink that down a bit, though. Let's go ahead and just finish up this leg here. Alright, let's go ahead and smoothen that out now. I'm not super thrilled with how that's turning out, actually. Let's go ahead and let's quickly revise that here. Nope. Brush is too big. Okay, you know what? I'm kind of feeling it. I'm kind of feeling that. Okay. Smoothing that out a bit. I don't know. I've never been to I've never been to a game convention. Now that I think about it. What about you guys? You guys go to game conventions or anything? Let's go ahead and finish up the form on the body and the rear leg. That's what I'm thinking there. Great. Alright. Let's get a vibe. Let's listen to some Ruby River, why don't we? Okay, and last thing is this sort of hook thing. We better fix that here. We got a problem here. Let's fix it up. We're going to use a smooth tool and then the reduce brush. Smooth. We've done some serious damage in there, haven't we? Reduce. We're getting there. We're fixing it. We're fixing it. Smooth. There we go. We've got it. We fixed it, everyone. Nothing to worry about. Smoothing that out. Okay, great. So let's go ahead and just give it a little bit of form to this rear leg. But again, it's something that isn't going to be seen that much, so it's okay if it doesn't have as much form definition as the other parts of the body. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. There we go. Give it a ridge. It gives it a sense of a joint there. Great. Let's go ahead and give it a central ridge here. You know, hide that sort of symmetry. Yeah, I want to feed into that a little bit. What I really like about this is the pressure sensitivity, so you can do quite fine work here when you need to. Okay, what we'll do is we'll use the crease tool here. I don't use that one all the time. Sometimes you do need it. There we go. I'm pretty happy with how that has turned out here. Really fantastic. Oops. That's why we have the undo command for little accidents. And just give it a bit more definition with our draw tool. We are at 808,000 triangles. That's a whole lot of triangles. If we were on PlayStation 5, we would have unlimited polygons, wouldn't we? But we are creating for the Nintendo Switch, where we don't have unlimited polygons. Awakening. Your friend streams on YouTube, Kick, and Rumble at the same time. Not Twitch, though. I think they have a policy or something, but that might have recently changed. Oh, okay, interesting. So maybe you can? I'll investigate it. But again, I'm not a content creator, and you need to have very specific objectives and goals as a content creator. And that's not my job. Oh yeah, I'm really feeling that. Oh yeah. I'll need to fix that. I've damaged the sculpt there a bit. Yeah, I'm feeling that. Okay, let's go ahead and just fix that. Broke it a little. Reduce brush. Alright. Go ahead and fix this a little bit. Oh, that's got a cool look to it, doesn't it? So go in a bit like that. There we go. Alright. And you're not gonna, I don't even know why I'm spending so much time on this part, because you're not even going to see this part. But it just ended up looking pretty cool, huh? Anyway, we'll use the scale tool, right? Alright. So let's scale. And we'll just scale it down. Yeah. We want to taper this guy here. So we'll use the inflate tool. We'll hold Alt and we'll just try and get it real pointy, why don't we? Maybe we can use a taper tool, or pinch. Let's see what the pinch tool does. Yeah. There we go. Just try and get it nice and pointy. And then, of course, we will use the reduce brush because it's too many polygons. And then we'll use the grab tool thusly. Reduce again, too many polygons. Alright, so what we'll do is just adjust it now, because I think he's forward leaning a little too much. Okay, let's go ahead and save. And then we'll just use the grab tool. Well, that's really beefy back there. That's real beefy. Let's go ahead and grab. Something it's too forward leaning. I made the front limbs too long. So let's go ahead. There we go. I'm considering the side profile. I want them to look stationary. And this sort of communicates a forward movement with those facing there. But from the side it looks interesting, so I might just leave it like that. Okay. Let's stick it out more bow-legged, right? These should be bow-legged more as well. That will help it look more stationary, won't it? And that, I want to sharpen that up there. That's too smooth there. I'll sharpen that as well. It's important to look at the shape of your creature from a distance. That's looking better in terms of proportions. Let's go ahead and fix that up. Okay, I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out. We've got an issue here. Something happened. I'm going to have to fix that up. Not sure what happened. We had a little accident. We'll fix it up. Nothing to worry about. Okay, let's get it back to our draw tool. And I'm considering looking at the angle of the limbs here. See how this makes... Oops. This is anatomically cohesive there. Very interesting. There, not so much. Let's go ahead and fix that up. It's the draw tool. Reduce the size of my brush. Try again. It's not exactly what I wanted. There we go. We don't necessarily need it for the back because we don't even see it that much, but it looks fine anyway. And then I'm sort of looking here, and that has the same issue. So let's hold Alt, bring that in. Okay, that's not exactly what I wanted, but that's fine. Bring that in. Just the size of the brush. Okay, that is now more visually coherent. I can't just leave it like that, can I? Okay. Right. Let's go ahead and kill the wireframe for now. Actually, no. I want to smoothen that out. That's not how I want it now. Okay. So we have our shape, and we have our form. Okay. Lastly, we just need to add a little bit more form to the body. See how it's quite smooth, and it just doesn't seem to really fit how detailed the arms are. That'll be the last bit, so let's just have a sip of our drink here. Now, I'm not sure if this is too bright. Let's go ahead and adjust it. What is that look like on the camera? Let's see. Maybe still too bright. Go back to that. It's pretty clear. It's pretty good to see. Okay. So. Brush too big. I want a sort of a ridge here along the top. I think the brush I used was a little too big. Oh, no. I've got it now. Never mind. I know what I want. Scratch that. Step back a bit. I want muscular connections on these resonator dongles? I'm going to call them resonator dongles. I will have them so that they look muscular. There we go. Let's get our resonator dongles connected to our body. Like so. There we go. Yeah. That'll do it. Alt. Bring that down like that. That's it. We've got it. We've got it, everyone. Get a central bit, so it looks like muscles coming down. Yeah. That's really making sense to me now. Great. That's really great. That's a little too chunky now. I'm going to step on back from that. I'll dial that back. I don't want to make these too chunky. Step on back again. Okay. I'll reconsider that and try again. There we go. Oh, we can connect those to some degree, possibly. Okay. Alright, you know, I think I'll leave the front and the back because it lets you see the form of the existing resonator dongles more clearly, so I won't add any more resonator dongles. Yeah, nice. You could spend all day doing this, you know. But eventually you will have to call it, especially if you know there's a spot where people won't necessarily see the detail. So what we'll do is we'll now use the smooth tool, and we will blend those details into the body. Then we'll just add, there's a bit more detail up here that I'd like to fix up. Zoom on in there. We'll blend that into the body here and go strength up a bit. Okay, you know, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm happy with that. Let's just give it a little bit more something here. Let's see, let's give it some veins or something. Give it a shape in there, why don't we? Something like that. When you're looking at it, you see a more interesting form, why don't you? There we go. Okay, we'll smoothen that out. We'll smoothen that out. Yeah, we want it real muscly looking, you know, just kind of grotesque. We want, at this point, we just want more detail, so it's more upsetting to look at. Okay, bring that in a bit like that. Express a sense of real sinewy, real tendony, you know. Right, and I'm really starting to connect with this design. I think I'm really feeling this creature. Okay. Yeah, it's just veiny, too veiny, kind of unpleasant. I'm really happy with how this is turning out here. We're going to do something about the symmetry here. We're just going to add a vein down in the middle just to address the symmetry, because you can have an organic symmetry which just looks pretty bad. You can see we caused an issue there. Let's go ahead and fix that up with the smooth tool. Reduce brush. Let's smoothen out this section here. Oops. Wrong tool. There we go. And what we'll do is we'll have veins connecting to this guy. Let's define our weak eating mechanism. We'll do that now. Okay. Flipped a bit. Sorry if you got some motion sickness there. Okay. So hold the Alt. And we'll just bring that in to give it a nice sinewy look like that. There we go. It's really working in our favor, isn't it? Makes it look pretty vascular. Okay. Let's get some muscle attachments on our eating mechanism. Looks like our eating mechanism is sort of attached to our arm a little bit, which is pretty nice. Or our appendage, as we should call it. There we go. Oh yeah, that's really working out. Smoothing that out. We've caused some damage there. We'll fix it. Not to worry. Okay, I'm going to be careful here because that'll cause damage as well, and I'm just sort of making more work for myself here, so we'll be very careful here. Alt key again to reverse tool. And lastly, yeah, the Alt key. Yeah, that's looking pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm just going to make it a little more vascular, and then we'll just do a quick paint job, just a quick test paint job here. We just want our eating appendage to be so detailed that it's unpleasant to look at. David Klein, hey, how's it going? Good to see you, David. Thanks for coming to hang out. Hey, so if you've just checked in, we'll just zoom out a little bit. Let me go ahead and just get rid of the wireframe, and you can see this creature here. Hey, this is my first time zooming out. Yeah. Oh, that's really unpleasant looking, isn't it? Wow. Wow, yeah. Ooh, I got to give a bit of form to my little danglers down there, my little dangly boys. Okay. Let's go ahead and smoothen this out. What do you guys think of this design then so far? I am quite happy with how this has turned out. This is, again, I was just shooting from the hip today. I sort of had a loose idea for this as we were doing our live stream hangout last night with the campfire. And this has really turned out. I'm so pleased with this. Smoothing that out. Get our draw tool. Okay. Let's just make this a little bit more vascular. And this, David, if you're just checking in, sort of the criteria that I needed for this creature, it's mostly stationary. It emits a hypnotic sound, so when people are asleep, it sort of hypnotizes people. It makes people walk towards it. You know, they sleepwalk and then they walk towards it. And the reason why it has to do that is because it has a weak eating mechanism, which it uses to eat the victims. So it emits sort of a hypnotic sound through its sound hole up the top. People sleepwalk, they reach towards it. I guess this thing sort of makes people lie down underneath it, and it uses a little mouth thing to sort of drink the blood and suck the juices out of people. So there we go. So yeah, I might have to get a coffee refill in a few minutes. So what we'll do is we'll just we'll finish up the sculpting here. Just want to smoothen that out. Reduce brush because I'm going to end up damaging that. I can see that I'm getting a pinch there, so that's something I need to mitigate right now. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to make my ED bit a little more defined. We got a little dangler. See, the more defined this eating mechanism is, the more gross it'll be. Let's go ahead and just... looking at how the veins are attached, right? What if we had... oh, hold on. We got some stuff back here going on. Okay. So yeah, what if... zoom out a bit here. We just went a little bit... oh, I'll zoom out a bit. Zoom out. Small brush. What if we just sort of went like a... yeah, like that. And then like a... veins coming in from the side there. Oh, we want that thick top vein though. Let's keep that thick top vein. It's going to branch out here. Oh yeah, that's unpleasant. Wow. Yeah, that got unpleasant very quickly. Yep, that's gross looking. That's not something I like. Okay. Let's go underneath like that. Yeah, we got to get this chunky looking down here. This bottom section needs detail too. Okay, so we'll go like just a little bit like that. Oops, that's too much, isn't it? Because this thing will be moving around, we'll be able to see it a fair bit, so we have to have some detail back here as well. David, love the design. Reminds me of Resident Evil 2 Liquor. Oh man, the Liquor. What a great design, huh? That was one of my favorite enemies because it was so different. You know, when it came out, because I was used to the zombies and the hunters, you know, and then 2 came out, and then the Liquor, sort of like, whoa, what the heck is this thing? You know, so I really like that design because it was just so shocking, you know. Okay, so how do we get our luscious, luscious lips to just be a little bit more unpleasant? Maybe if we gave it like a little ridge. Just make our defined lip ridge here. Might make it a little more... no, my brush is too big. Let's unstep back a little bit. There we go. That's our friend. So we're causing some damage here in the pinch. Symmetry can do that, so we're going to smooth. And then we'll got to do a lot of simplifying on this. I'm at 1,383,000 polygons right now. So I will have to address that. So let's start the... what we'll do in a few minutes is we'll just start painting it. I think that'll be fun. But I will have to optimize it, just redo some of the polygons a little bit. Okay. Oh, this is looking so gross right now. What if we had some veins? Oh, yeah. Let's get some connecting veins up here like that. That's unpleasant, isn't it? Very nice. So lovely. Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of seeing back here. We could probably get some connecting veins here as well. Yep. Wow, that's unpleasant, isn't it? Very nice. Okay. No, and just the bottom of our mouth bit now, I think, is all we need. And that's it. We've got to get our luscious lips. Okay. So we fix that. That's looking okay now. Oops. Oh, yeah, actually, no, the fact that it overhangs a bit is kind of unpleasant as well. Good, good. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's very unpleasant. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Yeah. Okay. So I just want to bring it in more. It's kind of chunky there at the edges, and I think if I bring it in, it's closer to what I want. There we go. Yep. Now it looks like a real eating mechanism, doesn't it? Oh, that's so unpleasant to look at. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. Okay. Oh, our danglers. The little danglers here. Just a small little detail. Let's go ahead and finish up our little danglers. And then the sculpt is done. All that's left is optimizing. Oh, we have our little cow udders. Well, I'm going to call those udders, and these are going to be danglers here. You know what? Let's just very quickly go through this because we don't need to spend too much of our polygon budget on our little danglers. But we just want to give it a sense of musculature. You know, it doesn't need much. It doesn't need that much. Oh, how lovely. How lovely. I sort of changed my muscular definition down here. I'm just going to fix that a bit. I can see I've done something I don't like. Okay, so what are we going to do with these udders down here is we're just going to crease them. Okay. We're gonna grab them udders is what we're going to do, as they say in the industry. That's a technical term. So let's get some face-to-face. We haven't had much face-to-face, have we? Let's see. Super Smash. Hey, good to see you. I wonder if you'll make a game with fixed camera angles. Good question. Lunar Knights, hey, great to see you. Great to see you. I think I'm going to step away in a minute just to get a coffee refill. So we're just going to finalize our little udders here. What I'm going to do is sort of pinch them in, right? I'll pinch the tops of these udders in and inflate the bottoms so they look like real gross liquid sacks. How about that? That'll be alright, won't it? Okay, let me look at our udders. Okay. So we're just going to do a little grab, and inflate. Something like that. Yeah. That's really gangly udders. You know, we got that one in the back as well. It's like a liquid sack, I guess, where it stores its sort of sound liquid. You know, that's something that exists. Sound liquid. Can you make him more vascular? That seems to be like a signature question. I think it's about as vascular as this guy wants to get. Or is that sarcastic? Do you think it's already reached peak vascularity? Okay, there's his sound. Those are sound sacs. They hold the liquid for his sound juice, which is, I know what anatomy is, and that's got sound juice in there. Yeah, I'm sure that's anatomically. This makes sense. This is fine. Everything with this is fine. Anatomically, this makes sense. Don't even worry about it. Okay, great. How was dinner? Lunar Nights, did you have dinner? How was it? Hope it was good. I'm going to have to make my lunch pretty soon. So we were up until 2 last night live streaming, and it was quite fun. So, yeah, but I'm kind of feeling I could really use some calories. You know, that's something I don't really discuss much, that I don't bring up that often, is when you work a long workload, especially like the way that I made... Oh, no, have a look at that. The way that I made the final Silver Falls games for the Wii U and 3DS was, it took a massive amount of calories. I was constantly taking in calories. And that's something that I'm finding, again, now that I'm back to working full-time on just the game development portion of the business, is, man, I can tell my body is asking for a lot of calories, and you have to be really careful, you know, because I enjoy a good snack. I enjoy a Dorito, a Cheeto, but I don't these days. You know, I'm not eating Doritos and Cheetos these days because they're really not great for your health anyhow. But these days I'm not eating them so much, but I need to be careful with my calorie intake, of course. So, you know, I'll be looking for healthy options. Now I'm kind of happy with this sculpt here. I'm just going to smoothen out his sack, and then I'm going to call it. That's it. We're good. Let's go ahead and smoothen this out. Yeah, I think we're good. Smoothen that out, and then we'll inflate it. Just one last sackflation, as they call it. Inflate that sack. Oh, you were exercising, not eating dinner, right? Nice. I went for a good bike ride the other day. Had a friend hold a camera for me while I recorded an update, but then it turned out he pushed the recording stop button instead of the recording start, so I'll have to record another update video. Okay, let's just try the inflate tool and inflate our sack, and then I think we're good. And of course, the sack just holds the sound juice, the sound liquid. Look, I think we're good. Let's have a look. Let's all step back. Can we all just take a step back? This is 1.5 million. 1.5 million triangles here. Too many. Alright, let's go ahead and get rid of that wireframe mode. Hey, let's get ready to do our paint. How about that? Okay, what do you guys think of this fella? I think I'm just going to go grab myself a coffee. Can you see that all right? Okay, I'm pretty excited with that. Let's go ahead and just save that as a new step. And then what we'll do next is paint it. So let's just reduce it. We're going to use the automated reduce selected. It's just going to reduce everything, you know. We need to get less than 1.5 million polygons, don't we? So, yeah, let's see here. So yeah, last night we were just enjoying a relaxing campfire. We played a little bit of cello banjo. That was quite relaxing. We were vented a little bit. We're trying to let go of the stress of the Unity situation, and just focusing on being positive and making video games. That's what it's all about. Yeah, sure. Okay, so yeah, we're looking good. I think I'm at 344,000 polygons. That's good. You know what? Let's go ahead and get to painting here. So let's bring that up. It'll take a moment to generate that. So what I'll do is now just get something to eat. I'll have a quick snack. And yeah, a quick snack and refill my coffee. Or if you can see that. Let me go ahead and turn that off then. Can I make that bigger? How do I make that bigger? What font is that? Seems to be 7072. If I went to 150, can I do that? No. It didn't like that. It didn't like it. You can't do that. Okay then. Well, I suppose that is not within the... what just happened? Okay. I'm just really trying to organize myself here. I'll be right back. Alright, hey, we're installing Unreal right now. Oh, look at that. Okay, so, let's see. I've got the Epic Games launcher. Let's go ahead and open the launcher. A little wireframe on this. Alright. And let's just, so, hey, so I just want to share this, guys. I just want to share this with you here. So how do I need to open the Epic Games launcher here. Epic. I don't even know. I think I need an account for that. Hey, so I just wanted to share this with you. This is something I'm very passionate about. Pardon me. I recently found this furikake seasoning. Really fantastic. So you know when you go to a Japanese restaurant and they have, sometimes there's rice and they have some seasoning on there. Really fantastic. Honestly, I've been putting this on everything. Except ice cream. I wouldn't put it on ice cream. That would be crazy. And the ingredients, it says sea salt, roasted sesame seeds, red onion flakes, chili powder, coriander leaves, black sesame seeds, onion powder, nori flakes, coconut sugar, button mushroom powder. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds fantastic. And ginger powder and rice flour. There's like all kinds of things in there. So it's like the more ingredients you have in a seasoning, the fancier it is. Think of it this way. Think of it this way, right? When you're playing a game and you are mixing ingredients into the game, you're mixing food ingredients, you wanna make a food item, right? The more ingredients you put into that food item, the more it'll boost your stats, right? The more health it will restore, the more stamina you'll get. And this thing I just named off like 12 ingredients in here. So, in my mind, well, no, not my mind. Just I know this is fact. I'm telling you for a fact. I wouldn't tell you something unless I was absolutely certain. This is really good. It's very healthy. It's good for your health, good for your stats because there's so many items in there. Do you see how many items were in there? That's heaps. So that's where I'm coming from these days, anyway. But really, though, it's very delicious, really fantastic furikake. I don't know. Check your grocery store. It's really nice. Lunar Nights. Oh, it's very good, but you need to only get the Japanese kind. Yeah, this says it was packed in South Africa from imported ingredients, but it's really fantastic. Whenever I have Japanese food at a restaurant and then they have furikake on the food, I always feel like, it'd be nice if there was just a bit more of that. But now I am in control. I have my own furikake seasoning, and I can put as much as I would like. So, there we go. I just wanted to share that with you guys. Oh, Lunar Nights. There's a Chinese kind. I didn't realize that. I'll look that up. I didn't know that. Okay, so I am installing the Epic Games launcher now, so I can install Unreal. Oh, a computer will be asking me. Yes, Epic Games. Sure thing. You know what? Let's start painting this bad boy. Okay, here we go. Total spice domination. Lunar Nights. You've seen a bunch of videos of fake food China makes. Ah, I see. That's interesting. Okay, I didn't realize I do that. The one that I've got, it tastes like the kind of furikake I get in the restaurant. So I'm very happy with this one. And my local grocery store has it, so I'm pretty happy. So this is the set, Silver Falls set that I use. So I'll use a general. What I will do actually is make a new unique skin texture or a new material. So in general, materials, I'll use them if there's a particular family of cryptids. For example, face takers have this muscular sort of thing going on, but it's not in this set. It's a different one. But this guy, because he sort of uses sound to lure people in, I decided I'd like a family of those cryptids. So I don't have a material that is unique to that. I will create one later. So for now, let's go ahead and just get a base layer down. Let's get a nice gooey flush here. So again, we're not doing the final detail. We're just filling in all the empty spaces here. We want to get rid of that empty gray space. Gutter oil. What's gutter oil? Exactly what it sounds like taken from the sewer gutter. Oh, that doesn't sound palatable to me at all. I don't think I like the sound of that. If you are drawing in a tablet, I get these gloves for like $2 on eBay. They're that sort of. I suppose they're similar to what you see pool players, you know, and they've got the ones here. So here's what I think they do. Now that I'm looking at this. You have drawing tablet users, and then you have pool users. And the pool users I've seen, they have the gloves where it's just, you know, these two. And I'm starting to think, oh, hold on. Do they just get one normal glove? They slice it vertically. This half they sell to drawing tablet users, and then the other half they sell to people who play pool. Because looking at it now, that's what I'm starting to think they're doing here. Anyway, back to Silver Falls. So how many more monsters, aka extra trails, you plan on making? So for the time being, this is it. This is the last one, pardon me, that I needed to make for Guardians and Metal Exterminators. I've already created the signature cryptid for Duck Season. So I'll be working on Duck Season after I submit Guardians and Metal Exterminators for launch. So I already have, that's the mollusk guy, and I think we hung out on a previous live stream while we were working on that guy. Can I get something that like looks cooler? What about this? Something that looks cooler. That's pretty neat, but it's hard to see the detail. There isn't one that's really clicking with me, you know. I'll stick with this one for now. I just want it to look all right on the camera that's picking up the stream here. So yeah, and then after Duck Season, we'll be doing Face Takers. Oh, that's Epic asking me for permission. Sure. And I've already finished all the Face Takers. We did all of them on live stream. So, but I do still need to rig and animate most of them. I think the most of them I haven't even rigged them yet. I just did the models, and that's rigging is my least favorite part about doing the 3D models. It's just tedious. It's not very fun. It's not creative or interesting. It's very pragmatic, but it must be done. Okay. Yep, we just want to fill in. I'm just trying to get rid of all the empty gray space. We're just getting a base coat down. This is our primer, yeah? And so if you missed it earlier in the stream, I was saying it would be really neat if this guy, if you could run up, straight up to him, and you get an insta-kill by using a throwing item and just throwing it straight into his sound hole here. And if you do that, I was thinking, oh, maybe he would choke. You know, if he like chucked a throwing axe down there, you would get like a unique kill animation where he's just choking and gagging until all of a sudden he just keels over and dies. And that way you can just deal with him that way. And I think that would be a really neat way to deal with this cryptid. I think our base coat's done. I think I've got all the spots done. Okay, that's the base coat. So I like to turn symmetry off at this point once I get the base coat down. And that way it'll look more organic and interesting because symmetry tends to kill the organic look, especially when you are painting your texture on there. Oh, you have allspice. That's cute. Reaches for spice frag. Delivers unbridled perfect Hadouken. That's what Furikake is. Furikake is just like your perfect, your ultimate move when it's like that. The big Hadouken, you know? This is really, it's my favorite spice that I've ever had, you know? Allspice, more like some spice, am I right? All right. I mean, we're on the topic of food. What for you guys in the chat, for everyone in the chat, what is your favorite kind of food? Like, if you were to go out, let's say, okay, 1 second. So let's say I'm gonna finish this up. I'm gonna finish up this thing, and I'm saying we're all going out to lunch. Let me know in the chat, where are we going? Where do you guys want to go? Because I'm just gonna say I'm happy with anything. I'll go anywhere. Where are we going for lunch? Tell me in the chat. What do you want? Do you want to get Korean barbecue? Do you want to get pizza? What are you guys getting? It's coffee. Luna Nights, just a broad kind of Asian food. So Luna Nights, we're going to a restaurant where they serve a bunch of different kinds of Asian food, so that you never really know. They're just kind of like, look, we got like all kinds of different food here, and you're just going to get a platter with a bunch of different Asian food. Is that it? Is that where we're going? Because I've not heard of a place like that, but if there was a place like that here in town, then that sounds good to me. I wouldn't say no to that. Your wife is Thai, you lived in Korea, been to Japan. Oh, that's right, yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I love all kinds of food. There was one restaurant I went to, and I don't want to say, what country the food was from, because I don't want to, food shame any particular country. The problem wasn't necessarily the food. It was the fact that at this restaurant, the tables were very low, the chairs were very low and slippery, and it made it very uncomfortable to eat at this restaurant. I was sitting really low. I'm not a tall person anyway, but the tables were very low, the chairs were very low, and then the table was very slippery. And so I'm eating again. I'm not going to say, what culture the food is from. I don't want to, food shame anyone, because the problem wasn't the food. The table was very slippery. The plates were very slippery, and then the plates were flush to the table. So I'm there trying to eat my food. I've got my fork, and my plate will not stop sliding around. It's like an ice skating rink on this table. So my plate's sliding around. I'm trying to cut my food. I'm trying to stab it with a fork, and the plate's just sliding around. And I look like an uncultured person, because now everyone's staring at me like, what's wrong with that guy? He can't even, he can't even pick his food up. There's something wrong with him. So now there's this loud noise because it's like an ice skating rink. My food's going all over the place. And then in the middle of the night, I just start, my back's hurting. It's really uncomfortable because I'm sitting very low now. The chair's very low, the table's very low, and all of a sudden, I'm in my 30s, but I was making old man noises, and I'm not, proud to say that. But I was like, when your grandpa gets up out of a chair, out of a lazy boy, and your grandpa goes, ugh, and all of a sudden the whole night, so here I am, I can't even hold my plate still because there's no way to get my fingers under the plate. So now it's loud noise, plates rattling, and I'm going, ugh, and people are staring at me like I'm the most uncultured person that's ever been in their restaurant. And I didn't quite enjoy that, so I've never been back to that restaurant. David, we're going to Korean barbecue. I haven't had Korean barbecue in a while, so that's a good call. I love a good barbecue pork. I'll be down with that. What about you, Awakening? Where are we going? Where are we going for lunch? Awakening, it's your turn to pick. Are we going to a spice shop? We're just going to eat spices? Jerrel looks down upon his pathetic foe. Your weak flavoring choices are powerless here. Hey, you know what? A game I saw on the Switch. I think it was, oh dear. I think it was just recently was translated and ported to the Switch, I think for the first time. I had played the ROM of this in Japanese, and I think it's called Gourmet Sentai on the Super Nintendo, and I thought it was so great. It's a beat 'em up, and in between the beat 'em up levels, like, you earn ingredients, I think, from the levels, and then in between the levels you have to put the ingredients together to cook food, and then you get stat boosts. And I just thought that was so great. It's kind of like Streets of Rage, but then you have to cook in between, and I just thought it was so great. And I think I saw that on the Switch the other day. I played that with a friend, and we were so confused. We did not know what was going on. Okay, so Sculpt just crashed. It's just reopening my file. We'll get back to painting. I'm installing Epic Games so I can install Unreal, and we'll see how we go with Unreal. I'm looking forward to that. Lunar Nights. The big thing about Asian food is that in America it's not 100% authentic. So you like Asian food from the source? Yeah. Oh yeah. I hear you. It's very different. It's, food's kind of like yeah, it's just sort of modified to be more marketable, I think. But every country is like that. When you bring food over to another country, it's sort of modified to match the palate of the culture. For example, in Australia, we generally don't like sweet things so much, and the Australian palate tends to prefer salty foods. So when Australians go over to America, they generally say, man, the food here is too sweet, the candy's too sweet, the lollies, as they say. Alright, so we crashed. We're going to have to do that. I didn't save. So Sculptress's autosave works for sculpting, but I think it doesn't work for painting. I think that's what the deal is. Anyway, not a big deal. We're just hanging out and chatting anyway, aren't we? Let's go ahead and get our base color on here now. Oh, there's a funny glitch. It has to do with my tablet and Sculptress. It's a weird, funny glitch. I'll have to close it and open it again, and then it'll be fine. Everything will be fine. Okay. Open up my file again. Open. Let's see. Yep. Great. Okay, so the Epic Games launcher is now opening on my computer. Okay, everything will be fine. We're going to put another base coat down on this fella here. Oops, I better get my set back in there, huh? Let's go ahead and get a base coat down. And this is just a reminder to everyone out there. Please remember to save your progress regularly. I mean, it was only a minute or two of setting that base coat down, but I should have just pressed Control S, every once in a while. So wow, this is really starting to lag, and I think it's because the Epic Game Store is kind of demanding on RAM for some reason. That's interesting. Okay, well, I'm trying to sign in. I'm signing into Epic Game Store, and I'm installing Unreal. Awakening. People from England and Europe say American candy is too bland and not sweet enough. Really? Wow. I haven't heard of that. That's interesting. There's a Finnish candy that I really like. Salmiakki. Such a nice candy, but obviously you have to go to Finland to get it, and I live here in Australia where you can't get salmiakki. I like salmiakki. It's very salty, right? And I like to offer it to people. And I like to preface it. I make it seem like, oh, this is like a very cultured candy. And I know for a fact that when people try the salmiakki, they're going to dislike it. But before I even offer it to them, I sort of lead the witness. And I kind of say, I mean, obviously, I'm just trolling people in real life. I just talk about, oh yes, it's very cultured. Very cultured people. Like this is the most cultured candy, they have. And I talk, how complex and rich a candy it is, leading the witness, of course. And then I offer the salmiakki to people, knowing full well that they're going to hate it. It's extremely salty. there isn't any other candy like it. And then I just love watching people's faces as they contort and then they try to think of something to say, because I've already sort of primed them into thinking, oh, if you don't like salamiakki, then you are an uncultured person, you know, because cultured people love salamiakki. And that's one of my favorite things to do is entrapment, I think is what it's called. And people, you know, I can see them, I can see the look on their faces and they're going, oh yeah, it's really good, I like it, you know. So we got our base coat back on. Get rid of our wireframe. Hey, we're going to save it this time. How about that? We'll do that. Great. Okay, so we have our dude. Let's go ahead and get our black void painted in there for his mouth void. Let's go ahead and just shrink the brush size a little bit. Yeah, okay. That's good, that's good. I don't want it blanket out too much. And what we'll do, I want only the very middle part to look like an empty void here. Because I want you to be able to see the walls of it. Something, yeah, there we go. And of course I'll specify it so it doesn't reflect, oops. It won't reflect light, it'll be fine. Yeah, great. That looks good to me. Okay, great. That's just great. So great. Okay. We'll turn off symmetry now, and then we'll give it some detail. Symmetry off. Okay, press continue, and close this window to go back to the Epic Games Launcher. I'm going to the Epic Games Launcher now. Okay. Luna Knights, what is the unusual Australian thing you have eaten that was surprisingly good? I don't know. I don't know. What have I eaten that was surprisingly good? I can't think of anything that's unusual that's surprisingly good. Because in general with Australian food, you can tell just by looking at it, you know, what it's going to taste like. Except for Vegemite, obviously, because it looks like a chocolate spread. And the mistake people make is they just pile heaps of it on, and then they eat a big chunk, and then they dislike Vegemite for the rest of their lives. And that's not the correct way to have Vegemite. Okay, so we have our base layer there. Let's go ahead and just get some flesh here that's sort of slightly bloodied flesh. How about that? We'll just give a little bit of detail to this guy here. And this is a very signature, universal look for Silver Falls, you know. You see that kind of skin and you sort of get it. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's that kind of creature, you know. But I want those to be red, you know. Maybe the knobs can be red so they really stand out. Projection mapping on this is kind of interesting. It's quite quirky, the way that it projects onto there. This is an interesting creature. What a fun fellow. Now originally, well not originally, but I had toyed around with the concept of this guy is sound-based, right? And last night when I was sort of thinking about this cryptid, we were sitting around the campfire and I was thinking about it. I was wondering if maybe I should do a creature that was sort of like that used spores from mushrooms, so its body had spores on it. And I thought that might be an interesting concept for a future game, because there aren't Silver Falls creatures that are really... There's one that's plant-based, but I haven't designed many that are plant-based. So in the future, I think it would be interesting to have a Silver Falls creature that has various mushrooms growing on it. It can sort of shake its body, and then, you know, it would have it would emit spores that would affect the player in various ways. You know? What if you had a spore enemy, you know, a cryptid in Silver Falls that was sort of like had spores like that, and when it emitted the spores, if it made contact with the player, it would reverse the controls. So pressing forward makes your character walk backward, you know, and left and right are reversed. I always think of interesting ways to interact with enemies like that, and for a future game, I would like to do that. I think it would be interesting because it's dangerous not in that it does damage to you, but it affects your ability to deal with threats as you know, it limits you your ability in different ways, in interesting ways. Okay. Whoa, that's looking so gross. Wow, look at that. That's really gross. Okay, so I think I'm looking at the Epic Games Launcher. So I've never seen the Epic Games Launcher before. This is my first time viewing the Epic Games Launcher. I'm just gonna look for Unreal 4. How do I get Unreal? Oh, Unreal Engine, I see. There's 5, but what if I want to use an older version, right? Because I think 4 is more performant, but I don't know. I'll pick the latest 4 version. I think that's what I need. Okay. Everyone, I know nothing about Unreal. I don't know anything about using Epic Games Launcher. I've never used the Unreal Engine, so I know absolutely no thing about it. I'm installing Unreal now. Who knows how long it'll take. Okay. Luna Knight's number 1 is Durian. Durian smells bad, right? Is that true? Am I getting that correct? Awakening, I like Vermont maple candy, local and very yummy. That sounds fantastic. I like maple syrup, so I'm all about that. I'll buy that for $1. Okay. So we have our knobs here. Oh, you know what would be great if our veins were red as well. So I would like to do that. I'd follow the veins. This is, oh wow, 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 wow. That looks really gross, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm really digging it. That's great. You know what? So our little eating mechanism should have this red color to it as well. I'm really liking how this is turning out, honestly. Yeah, that's exciting. Wow, fun, 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 fun. So fun. Look at that. I'm so happy with how that's turned out. I'm just going to give that a bit more red so it's visually stands out more. My brush has disappeared. Like, I can't see my brush indicator. So I don't know what is up with that. I'm sure if I restarted it, it would be fine. What I think is having issues is I think the Epic Games Launcher is kind of demanding on this computer because it's quite an old computer. And I think the launcher is putting a stress because Sculptress is sort of quite sluggish at the moment. Okay, and in a different modeling program, like, you know, you could use Blender or Maya, whatever you use, but I would like to use that to put teeth on this here. Yeah, nice, nice. Yeah, that really stands out. That's great. Okay, so I am installing Unreal 4.27.2 right now. Here's what I'm kind of thinking. Okay, let me try this. Let me try some of this here. I'll try some of this. They have good coffee too, I guess. Who, Vermont? I've never been to Vermont. You have to walk to the corner store, so you'll probably lose your connection. Okay, we'll see you in a bit. We'll see you in a couple minutes. I'm just going to try some lighter colored skin on this and see how we do here. Okay, so I will not be able to use Unreal on stream because I have 13 gigs to install, and that will not be done in time. So maybe next time we'll do another stream and we'll see how I do. I'll try and load something into Unreal. I'm just going to try some lighter colored skin here and blend it in and see. Just see how it looks here. Just to give it a bit more visual distinction. And again, this won't be the final paint job for this guy. What I will do is create a new material specifically for this family. This will be a family of cryptids. See what's interesting about the form here. See, so how I'm coloring the musculature differently is see how now this section of muscle here stands out from this front section, and it makes it look interesting. So as you look at it from a distance, it gives it dimensionality. You see what I mean by that? It makes it interesting to look at. So that's something that I try to consider. And when I do the final paint job, I'll try to remember to do something like that, you know. So. And this guy's funny ridge back here. That's kind of like to sort of indicate that it's kind of bony, right? That's what we're doing here. Let's just say that's kind of bony. You know, let's make it red. Let's get that red in there. Dairy Instincts, it's a love or hate it. Yeah, yeah, I've heard that. People just really don't like the smell, but they say it is delicious, so, you know, maybe it's worth it. Okay. I think I've saved my progress. Okay. Okay, I have 12.2 gigs left to install Unreal. Okay, what do you guys think of this fellow? What do you think of him? Oh, hey, you know what? Our little sacks down there should be dark red as well, shouldn't they? Our danglers. Let's go ahead and do that now as well. Awakening. Jerrel single-handedly made the final day of 3DS and Wii U eShops memorable and means something other than sadness. Oh, hey, I appreciate it. But you know what? It wasn't just me. It was all of you guys. Like, that absolutely would not happen without all of you. It really was a massive team effort. Not just, you know, oh, I'm not just saying that because, oh, you bought my games and whatnot. No, it's because you guys set a positive atmosphere and attitude. You know, your response to it was, all right, let's have some fun. And you guys... you spread the word, you told other people about the Silver Falls games, and then people found out about Silver Falls because of you guys. So it's, you know, it absolutely was a team effort, and the fact that we could have a bonfire and just eat a bunch of ridiculous stuff, I think that was really great. And yeah, I think it was the perfect way to send off those consoles, and I'm sure one day we will have to send off the Nintendo Switch as well. And you know what? We'll have a bonfire for that day too, and we'll have another we'll have a Texas sunrise. Is that what it's called? All right, we'll open this again. Okay. It was an awesome farewell. Yeah, it was. Oh, it was so fun. And you know what? I'm not a big drinker. We weren't even, you know, I wasn't drinking. I don't know about you guys, but I wasn't even drinking. I was just hanging out, having fun with everyone, and you know, eating my Texas sunrise, which is the marshmallow jammed into the middle of a cinnamon donut, held over a campfire, of course. It was fun. And hey, we'll do more bonfires as well. You know, we did one last night. It was pretty impromptu, and I was a little bit disappointed. You know, it was a little bit of that was in response to sort of they sort of said, trying to deal with the Unity situation, they said, oh, we'll do a fireside chat. We'll talk about, you know, Unity's response and their solution. And I believed that they would be sitting by either a campfire or a fireplace, and I thought they would be chatting. So I was very disappointed when it was just two webcams. I don't know. Something in my head made me think that they were going to do a fireside chat, which would have been very cool. And so here's my position on that. When you are, because those were event organizers that organized that. You know, it's not a big event, but you still need an event organizer. You need someone to organize those sorts of events. Don't mislead people, because people are going to think it's something cooler than it actually is. Now, if I were in charge of that situation, and it were up to me to say, okay, we have to now somehow gain people's trust, we need to reassure Unity users of the situation, we need a positive way, a charismatic way to speak to people, and we need to show them that we're on the same level as them in terms of understanding, and that we want to really connect with people. Personally, I would have done a real fireside chat. I would have gotten people around an actual campfire, or at least by a fireplace. I would have had people in person. I would not have done it via webcam, because that to me is the cheapest, laziest, and easiest solution they could have done, was we'll get two people to talk over webcam. So to me, it was a very poor showing. It showed extremely weak leadership, and to me it showed complete and utter disinterest in the actual topic at hand. And I felt very strongly about that, and I didn't really say anything about that because I don't want to focus on negativity. But something that really frustrates me is watching weak leadership get in the way of people who can do real good. So yeah, that interview, the fireside chat with I don't want to get his name wrong because I think he's really great. Jason Wyman, is that his name? I don't want to get his name wrong and offend him, but I think the way they organized that was an obscenely missed opportunity that was mishandled, and I think it only placated the people who just want to keep using Unity because it's a good engine to use if you don't need it for a large project. And there are many people out there who are creating smaller scale projects where Unity works fantastic. And those people, they just want the situation to go away so that they can keep using Unity. And there's nothing wrong with that. It was a great time hanging out with Jerrel, and you all was great. It was fun. T-Dog, anyone want to add me? I got 8 more till 100. 8 more whats? Howdy, T-Dog, what's up? Let me see here. I'm clicking on you, but my computer says no. T-Dog. I don't know. Sorry, T-Dog. I'm clicking on you, but computer says no. So I don't know why it's doing that. Luna Knight Jerrel, you should be a Buddhist monk. Why do you say that? Oh man. So I'm looking at the proportions, right? And something that I can already see that I've got wrong here is his udders and his dangler in the middle do not come down far enough. See, I know that when you're viewing this guy, the camera angle is going to be about there. Oops. Sorry about that. Let me turn my screen back on. The camera's going to be about there. So something that I've got wrong here is that his dangler, I'm calling that a dangler, his rear dangler is super not low enough. His front danglers are just barely long enough. So I think his front danglers Probably could benefit from being just a little bit longer. His udders don't come down nearly far enough. Anyway, hey, I think that's it. I think we're good. I think we've pretty much finished that up, and it's going to take way too long to finish installing Unreal. So we'll do that next time. We'll see. Actually, next time we'll see what it takes to get Silver Falls characters loaded and rendered in Unreal Engine. So if anyone's interested in seeing that, you see positive in the negative sound, very spiritual. How why hate when you can love? Absolutely. You know, it's too easy to just be negative about things, and what good does that do? How does that help anyone? How does that make anyone feel better being negative about things? So you know what? Let's stay positive, because there's so much more in life to enjoy. Oh, hey Indrajit, how's it going? We're actually just about to wrap up. Yeah, so this is what we've ended up with today. I'm pretty excited. I'm happy with how that turned out. What we'll do is we'll zoom in on that. We'll just give people a closer look on that. Zoom in. Enhance. Oh, hold on. I've done the wrong thing here. Let me redo that. Let's go like this. I want this one here. That one there. Okay, we're going to zoom in so we can get a closer look at our creature. Great, here we are, everyone. We've done it. So yeah, I'm pretty much done with the sculpt. I won't deploy it into the engine. I'm not set up at the moment with this workspace, so we can just hang. We can chat a little bit. We'll just talk about whatever, and then in a couple of minutes we'll just wrap up the stream here. But that was pretty fun. Unfortunately, I have to go and rig these things now. There's a bunch of work to do. That involves creating the bones for all the cryptids that we've been doing on stream recently. It's my least favorite part of the modeling process is rigging. It's part of life. You gotta, you know, it's what my grandpappy, you know, used to tell me. Sometimes in life, you just gotta rig. But at the end of the day, you've got to have bones. And that's what grandpappy used to say, is you've got to have bones. That's definitely real. I didn't just make it up. That's real advice. So yeah. So for anyone that missed it, this guy emits a sound through his sound hole. It's hypnotic. In general, it really affects people who are asleep. It makes people sleepwalk, and then when it hypnotizes them with the sound, people approach it. I think it makes people just lay down. I'm going to add teeth to this guy, so this guy will have teeth on his little front mouth, his little dangly mouth. People will lie down and just sort of chew on them. It'll chew them up and then just sort of suck their blood out. Drink them like a Capri Sun, as they say in the business. So this guy turns people into little Capri Sun packets using his sound hole. But he doesn't move much, if at all. He basically stays in place. He can move, but it's going to be very slow. But he'll have to be able to move somewhat, obviously, because he'll be a playable cryptid in the upcoming Guardians and Metal Exterminators to the Nintendo Switch. Anyway, let's put on something soothing. What do we got? Let's put on some soothing while we wrap up the stream here. Let's go. Empty Forest is pretty soothing, isn't it? Yeah. Hangout like the elephant. Yeah. Like that Twitter elephant. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this guy. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have bones in there. Bones have got to come up there. There's a knuckle there. There's a knuckle there. That'll come down. Put a bone in there like that. We'll get this back hook. That'll hook into the ground, you know. We're going to have to put bones all along his elephant trunk. We're going to have bones on his danglers and on his udders. We'll have to have bones coming up through the body and up to there. We'll have bones on these resonator dongles, and then those, obviously, they'll bind their neutral state. They'll be touching like that, and when it makes noise, it'll sort of vibrate, and it'll look really creepy, and you'll be able to run up and just throw a weapon straight down in there, and then that will choke it, and it will die a sad, horrible death. And maybe after it dies, it'll give your throwing weapon back. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see. But gee, I'm so pleased this turned out, and I'm so happy that we could all hang out and just sort of chat about whatever, you know. So this has been a lot of fun. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. Yeah, let's just chat a little bit more. I'll enjoy my coffee and we can chat. So what if I did this? What if I did... Oh no, see that? The camera... No. Oh, hold on. What if I did? What if I did a little something? Like... Oh no, that's not going to work. This is OBS setup. I didn't have a template ready for OBS. Okay, let's just hang out. I have a 9.3 gigawatts left to download for Unreal, so I'm looking forward to that. Today will be my first time opening. You know what? I'll save it for a live stream or a video. It'll be the first time that I've used Unreal. First time I've opened it, and we'll put a Silver Falls character in there. We'll put a Silver Falls scripted in there. So yeah, it's been awesome hanging out, everyone. Yeah. I'm quite tempted now to buy the gloves that you use for billiards, for pool. Because I'd like to buy a pool glove, and then I want to put it on and see if it lines up with this drawing tablet glove. Because I suspect that at the factory they just cut them in half and they're selling them to two different people. That's what I'm starting to think here. Anyway, I think that's about it. It's been great hanging out, everyone. Yeah. Check back in soon. We'll be doing more live streams. Maybe we'll do some rigging on live stream. I personally don't find it very interesting or fun to look at, but people have asked for it. So I hope you enjoyed watching the sculpt on this guy. It was very fun. Again, the concept that the philosophy by which I designed this is concept on canvas. I didn't have any concept sketches. And even for this guy, I didn't even really think about it much ahead of time. This time, I really genuinely just put the concept straight to canvas. So that's one method of doing your design. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you think this dude's neat. And I hope you look forward to seeing him in Silver Falls games. So thanks, everyone. It's been fun. Take care of yourselves. Be well. And I suppose we will see you again soon. Take care.